Hello, hello, hello! Welcome and well met. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the start of this week. I am Leona Theodosia and today we are going to be playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hopefully finishing off episode 5. I was hoping to get to this last stream, but that ended up being very foolish of me. I actually looked at the content, what was left now, because this is my second playthrough. I'm not spoiling myself or anything. But I also kind of did that because I realized I was stuck and I'm like, I still have no idea what to do. I have some idea what to do now. I didn't look up something. It was more of, this will happen next. I'm like, oh, how do I do that? I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but I know what to look for now. So hopefully I don't get stuck for the first 15-20 minutes trying to figure this out. Because that would kind of be not entertaining to watch, I don't think. It's kind of why I'm like, I need to look things up if I get stuck for too long. I don't want it to get boring for you guys. But okay. Let's see if I can actually get to the part that I want to get to. Because this is longer, there was more stuff left than I thought last Friday. That's my foolishness for not looking up to see how much was left over and just thinking I could get there. My bad, I have learned. I will try to do better now. Alright, let's get into the game though. Hello. I forgot there was gonna be... Hi, background music! Why do I feel it's been so quiet lately when I'm loading this up and I'm like, it's just me talking. I'm like, oh wow, we have background music for on. Smeecy's go play. Okay. I'm gonna save screen as usual so I don't accidentally click things, setting things up. Worst I'll do is hopefully just save the game, oh no. Watch me one of these times accidentally load one of my completed save files and just spoil a bunch of things. Be terrible. Okay. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Alright, so we're talking to Great on here. I already read through all of his stuff. If you want to see what his actual testimony is, you're gonna have to watch the previous stream. I'm not gonna reread this. Presumably, I've already read it. Where was I at? Okay, I only have the music boxes. Additional evidence since last time. I'm gonna be like, I gotta readjust my brain to what is going on. It's been a couple of days. And I'm a bit head empty today, a bit scatterbrained today, despite having enough sleep. I'm like, I hate it. You get a good night's sleep and then your brain is just like, how about I stop functioning? I'm like, why? Shouldn't it be the opposite? That's where I'm at today. So if I'm a little bit goofy, there you go. Jesus. You move way too fast for me. This guy's animations just freak me out. Okay, I just want to see something. Okay. I want to go back first. Hold it! See if I just need to do this. I don't remember if I pressed any of these. Okay, no, I don't think I have. Pull up the history then. Okay. Like, wait, did I press any of these? I don't remember exactly where I left off. I'm terrible, I know. Okay. So let's see, it's Ryunosuke. Mr. Rindybank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. Never been so scared in all me life. Yeah, we just your regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We didn't like violence. Just the pair who carried... Just the pair who carry a gun. Ryunosuke's like, no, if you're non-violent, don't carry a gun. Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm being a bit loud today. Do I need to move my microphone a little further away from me? I think I just went into the red. Okay, now we're... Where did that come... Oh. I just realized I didn't grab something. I didn't grab my water bottle. I might need that later. Give me 1 second. I'm back. Always with the angry faces. Why is that every time I leave, my model just is like absolutely furious that I left? I'm gonna get a drink of water. Ah. Little sip there. My itch is really... Okay. Now that I have something to drink, for when I'm inevitably going to need it, doing all these voices, let's continue. Okay. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to help me bruv, but the old geezer chucked me over the bloomin' counter. You are of diminutive stature, for better or worse. There we go. So I pulled me gun on the old fella, and that soon made him scamper. The pair of you setting it upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together. Shame on you! Sorry, Gov. You too. Okay. Oh, you know what? There might be something. Let me see what the wraparound dialogue is. Gonna push this over. Hi, Iris. She's so adorable. I love the fact that she hangs out with you. Oh, well, not with you, I guess. Be with Ryunosuke to be more accurate. What's your feeling, Bruno? As much as I hate to admit it, I don't see any obvious holes in his testimony at the moment. But you have to find a way to break this man. And quickly too, because once they discover the blood on the overcoat Gina was wearing... It's a bit strange that he's so sure of himself about seeing the blood spatter over Jeannie's coat. It doesn't strike me as the sort of thing you'd claim if you hadn't genuinely seen it happen. We know that Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybag. What's going on? All I know is that it's very unfair. Why should some German scientist's test be acceptable as evidence when mine and Hurley's wasn't? Proper procedures, Iris. You have to put it through the court thing to count as valid evidence. Detectives can use test tubes too. Never mind that. I find a really stark inconsistency in this testimony somewhere. I have to find it before the prosecution discovers the bloodstain on Gina's coat. Okay, I think I just pressed all the statements. Alright. Gotcha. I'll just go down the line here.
Hold it!
You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes. Though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was at exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. Oop, hello, Grandma Iris. Hello, hello. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar on the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding black. I saw that I was flubbing badly. Bleeding badly. That got me. Why is it always the blah 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 kind of sounds that make me laugh when people flub words, including when I do it myself? Okay, let's try that sentence again. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. You probably opened up the wound again, dingus, with all those flamboyant movements that rather unnerve me. Van Zinks, why do you have a wine bottle on your desk? Are you kidding? If you... I swear to everything, if you start pitching stuff around again, I'm going to call you out. As if I don't already do that anytime you do it. How much glass is around this man? I've asked it like 4 times and I still want to know. Somebody smarter than me, do the math on that. Okay, so leaving us aside. Mr. Windybank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. I pulled me gun on him. He tried to shove me out the way. And then he scampered through the door out back. At which point, what did you do? That's so many voices. Okay. So he went into the storeroom and you saw— Hold it! Oh yeah, I did mention something that I— Hi. I wasn't expecting you to do that. You mean you chased after him? Oh, I finished my thought. I already pointed out something that would become relevant later. Mostly because I knew what to look for since the beginning. And I figured I'd just point it out beforehand because it's going to become relevant. If you know, you know. Moving on. I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. Why am I thinking I forgot to make some food I wanted to bake this morning, and I don't know why my brain decided to interrupt this program for that thought, but okay. That's out of my system. Moving on. Why? Scatterbrain today. Please bear with me. I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. What about these people in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom's door's a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening in it about the head height that lets you see what's what in there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it to myself that night. Yeah, there's an animated cutscene and everything. And what about you burgling brothers? You see what went on through this people as well. Not likely, Gov. And see nothing of the sort, Gov. I doubt these 2 buffoons were even aware of the people's existence. Sculpin brothers were there. They didn't see the killing of Mr. Windybank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there. Oh, I did go over some of these. Just not all of them. I'm going to go through them all. Yes. for at least those who need it. A defendant? Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next? Okay. Her in the black coat. I pressed on this. I think it's the one after this that I did. Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. That was Mr. Windybanks' gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, the bullet was fired at you. Ah, but no. It wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Oh, please stop. That's what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about! The freaking weirdo! Oh, jeez. Is that better? Having some movement. Okay, I think we're good. I keep making angry faces. I'm like, I need to fix some things in the back. Okay, I think we're good though. Yes, the bullet from Windybanks' gun grazed my arm. And yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon. So So clearly they had to be a third firearm involved. I'm not getting Van Six's voice right. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Laughing. Calm yourself, Consul. Sorry. You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other. But then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment, the little gutter rat shot him in the back. Chilling image, I must say. Mr. Noodle Arms. Saw the blood spatter all
Hold it!
all over her. Yes, through the peephole. I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now. What with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, the garment is solid with the victim's blood. Well, it is solid with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Winkypinks' blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood. From when McGilded stabbed him 2 months ago. What happened? Did Cruller die? Nope. It's just being fussy. Liar, liar. Like Creighton's pants on fire. I'm not gonna commit a crime. We're trying to avoid crime. It's so annoying. If they'd only accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. Put it through the court proceeding things. But they won't. So, unfortunately, we can't use it as evidence to support our case. What's it called? Father. That was really cute and funny all in one. Okay. It's just the gun on the big bolts I picked up and made my escape. Oh, that explains where the other gun went. Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room. That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over. Over where exactly? The direction of the storeroom door. To where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door. Why on earth would she do such a thing? This Camp Vampire has a consensus client. I don't think Mr. Great on here is not Mr. Vampire's client. He's just a witness. I think Van Six is just prosecuting on the behalf of the court. Or like a law? Like the police? I don't think he has a client on his side that's going like, that person's the bad guy. I think this is just the powers that be. Van Six needs to be here. Rianoska, however, has a client, and that is Gina. At least in this particular case. I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there, in case any more tragedies took place. It was you, in fact, with the third gun from the scene of the crime. Yes, it was yours truly. I left the cleaner out to my lackeys and left. Lyra. We made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistle and Flute here was tidy up. He thinks he's here blooming mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, you left the pawnbrokery that night. Is it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket?
Correct!
What? Oh, excuse me? He just called him a toe? What? Like a shoe polisher? When it comes to crimes against Green, we all promise not to. Margaret, you're terrible. My nieces are down for violence apparently today. My goodness, y'all. I'll keep that in mind, I suppose. My nieces are little mischief makers. Should I do that? Should I have it in my starting and ending screens now? You being little hellions, like dropping books around or something, knocking vases over or whatnot. Tiny, teeny little menaces. Adorable little menaces. You're lucky you're cute or else I'd be madder. Menaces. Noted. Alright, what in the world is going here? Quit manhandling Nash. I mean, he's a crook, but he's not terrible. I don't think he deserves to be manhandled quite like that. Alright, I'll keep it in mind. Gentlemen. Oh my gosh, poor Nash. I think that was rather, again, I think that was a little uncalled for there, Gregson. Something wrong, Sunshine. Should be my line. Do you realize you were just violently shaky, Mr. Skulkin? Finally, he's a bit of an ooligan, ain't he? No kidding. What was going on just now? I saw him. He grabbed me whistle. What the blazes, he said. Didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down the station? And why didn't you? 'Cause we ain't know nothing about it. You left flaming people in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rags sometimes. Hurt, are you? I'm not getting any of the voices consistent today. Jeez. Maybe I do need a better drink of water. Like, I feel like I'm slightly off on everyone's voice today. Okay, let's see if that helps. I mean, sometimes the voices change over time because I end up finding better voices. I'm not a professional voice actress. I am just doing my best to make different voices so people don't have to constantly watch the screen to know who's talking. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's a little better. Make strange sounds, test out voice. Let's go. Poor Blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this D gives me the willies. He is a little aggressive. That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Gregsy at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. Oh. Oh gosh. My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Explain yourself, officer. I have the results of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord. Ah, the blood. The accuser's overcoat. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. Poor Yunosuke. He's like, this is bad. Well, there you have it. A report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of splattering following a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me! Oh gosh. Please, stop moving like that! See? What did I tell you?
Objection!
No, the blood on that coat is not Mr. Windybanks's. What on earth makes you say that, Counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windybanks's, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection!
Brickmaker. Jeez. What is with the bees today? I'm bad. Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry. 2 months ago, this very courtroom, someone argue fervently for Mr. McGilded's innocence. And yet, now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer. Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have had earned yourself in this country. But that was... Well, he disgraced. Treachery, that's what it is. To determine whether the blood on the coat is 2 months old or not. Even a stereoscope couldn't help. The answer to that problem pop out. Can't be done. But we use Mr. Shlom's specially formulated... Mr. Shlom's is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out Kuroshiki to a starving boy, and he ran away crying. What was that from? Sherlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this court. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with the blood of the victim. No way Mr. Greydon could possibly have known that fact, as if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid, and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Yo. Things are not looking good. No. My lord. It's been a long battle, this one. This old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman? As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now. Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Is that the third time this has happened? Also, I like how I had them all raising their hand, but it still goes one by one. It's kind of funny. Are we gonna get distressed Ryunosuke? Poor man. Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. Hello, Fanzeeks. The defense has constantly failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the juror's decision, being equally successful. Why? I don't believe it. After I've come so far, how How is it all unraveling on me so fast? Oh, come on, Ryunosuke. How very distressing. To be held in such low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer? You've delivered the report now. That would be all, thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah! It's the man! I see it. Okay, Gregson's kind of getting... I hold on, I just realized I can probably move this up some. He's still gonna get blocked by it, but it's a little bit less. Gregson's like, oh my gosh, where did you come from? Look at Greydon. He's just completely affronted by Shlom's appearance. He's like, what is this peasant doing in my presence? Leave. You're such a jerk. But it's the man's. It's the man's. Mr. Shlomes. Oh, this guy vampire better be drinking fermented juice because just a cry. You're right. I think he's just taking a sip at best. I don't even know if he's taking a sip. He could just be pretending to and then yeeting his glass around. Why is he like this? Why is Van Ziggs like this? Anyway. Mr. Shlomes. What's the meaning of this? Look at him pose. Also, my voice totally cracked. Order, order, order! What business do you have here, detective? Last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital. As well as I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Apparently, it's really you! You're awake at last! Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you would humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Should be so kind as to spare us the time. What say you to this, Lord Van Ziggs? The trial has taken many hours of the court's time. Having spent so long already. Exactly! Having spent so long already, we don't want to go wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Shlomes is the best. He really is! I freaking love Shlomes. I'm just kind of sad I've never seen a cosplayer of Shlomes. I would give them a hug if they so permitted me to, but yes, I'd be very excited. I'd be very excited. Small wish of wanting more Great Ace Attorney games just so there's an excuse to for people to cosplay as Shlomes again. I knew what you meant. It's okay, Grandma Iris, but I understand wanting to correct oneself. But I thankfully understood what you meant. So we're good. We're all good. I'm looking this way because my chat's this way. Oh, the chat's up there, and I keep thinking I need to remember to like read there and then like look up there. So sometimes I don't know where to look. Anyway. Very well then, Consul. You have 5 minutes. Holmes! Oh, he's back in his regular garb. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Look how pleased Iris that. She's like, Dad's back! Aw, it's so cute. Shlomes! Mr. Shlomes, are you alright now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? Only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I was asking the judge for 5 minutes. Well, I asked the judge for 5 minutes. I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Shlomes! Oh my gosh, man! Sit down! Or don't. You can lean on the wall. For crying out loud. Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Apparently, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. Give the man a break. He's on the verge of passing out, apparently. Please, Shlomes. Enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping. A leaving present from Miss Susato. Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. You looking? Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. I knew the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhanded. I don't think I've ever heard the song outside right now. I like this song. Okay. I could enjoy this later. I might have to find this one. This one's nice. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are, won't... And you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are wont to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At the very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san. Whatever could it be? Iris is pleased. What is this? Oh! It's the machine I made. Ah! It's a cat door maker. Waka hi! Hi, kitty! Meow! Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? Susato crushes and Shlomes in his detective work. Yeah. I call it the cat flap-o-mat. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. Shlomes, are you okay? What is Susie up to? Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Oh, Susato. They're both thinking now. That's so cute. You often don't get to see Iris and Shlomes standing directly next to each other like this. I'm enjoying this. What did she mean by that, Mr. Shlomes? That night, you left Windybanks' in pursuit of the thieves. Miss Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. One that I alluded to last stream. Not all cryptic then. Oto-san used this crap. Try that again. Actually, I'm gonna try that from the swine. Not at all cryptic then. Oto-san uses cat flap mat at night? Why? We added court record. 5 minutes is up, I'm assuming. They're fancies. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already. Are you gonna sit down, Shlomes? I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. Any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo! Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. Okay, I'm You're gonna speak ominously, I'm saving. I'm not always clever enough to know which answer to choose. My lord, the defense requests... I think further cross-examination. First I'm gonna look at this, though. Oh gosh. Why does it kind of look like a frog? Also, that's terrifying. Those are blades. That's kind of scary. Can you click anywhere on here? Yes, yes you can. Okay, I'm gonna move over first though. Whee! I wanna make... Yeah! Scary! That's freaking scary! I don't like blades! Whew. Those vicious teeth look like they could rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made out of a special alloy I developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so it can get through any kind of door in no time at all. And what are those... What are the two parts at the top there? Ah! Those are for attaching hinges to the section of the door that gets cut. Right. Of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make a mincemeat of even the toughest of doors. Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but... feels like the reality of the cat flapomat is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. Wakahai is so adorable, there's nothing I wouldn't do for him. Even develop deadly weapons! Iris, no! Iris, no! Oh gosh. That's so scary. Look at those things! Look at those things! Okay. Whee! Alright. I just want to make sure that wasn't an update or anything. I'm gonna try this though. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
Jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now.
Objection!
Defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness. Rather, to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important details escape your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord, requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. So nobody can say anything then. If Reno asked to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. Really bad at the voices right now. I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitted protraction of these proceedings. Do those blades cut through Windy Pink's face? Yeah, let me show you. Now it's relevant again. You can see the door up there, and this is at 1 a.m. So, like, look at the door. Look very carefully at the door. Did you memorize the door? Now look at the door again. There's extra lines on the door, almost as if it has a peephole now. It's been a half hour. Let me go back. See? See? So the peephole didn't exist at a certain point. It only exists, as we just found out, Susato used it, but she only got there after Shlomes was shot. After everything went down. Because one of the last thing that happened was them coming in, Shlomes getting shot, and then the Skulkin brothers booking it. So yeah. That could only have been made after Susato was there. So. Windy Banks was already dead by then. By the time she used it, Windy Banks was dead, meaning and Graydon was not there. He is lying. Now we gotta prove it. Therefore, I have to decide to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. Simple chance to present evidence. If it follows that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to education. Is that clear, consuls? Will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time that I fell in a dead faint. Oh my god, somebody catch him! I leave this in your capable hands. Bye! Oh my gosh, no one caught him. Gregson! You can catch the poor man. Shlomes! Mr. Shlomes! Oh my gosh, somebody get Shlomes! Everyone's freaking out. I am too! Stand so inscrutably before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind, or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Wake a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you thoroughly prepared? No. Your nose came out of me. Yes. One statement. One piece of evidence. Won't let Mr. Shlomes down. Or Iris. I won't waste this final chance that Susato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Okay. Very well then. Under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. Oh boy. Oh boy. Move the shooting again. Ooh, music's changed. Saving it. There's 2 bits that mention the people, and I'm not entirely sure what I need to present and do at the moment. That's not in question. Yeah, it's... But the man shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole on the door. That's not true. Just the guy. I think it's this first one. Whoop, not that. Right here. Poor little Iris must be freaking out about something. Honestly, I'm surprised she's still here. I'm surprised she's not over in the antechamber fussing over the man. I suppose she might have done so, and now everyone's back here. Nothing's convincing me that Ryunosuke didn't just go after yelling at Mr. Shoves and just bolt on over there going, "Oh my gosh!" With Iris going, "Oh no!" Okay. I think you're supposed to show the contraption. But I'm gonna save it because, again, I'm not entirely sure. Because I can also use the photos, though I don't know if Ryunosuke will get... That will trigger the correct dialogue and all that, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure it's here. Let's try this.
Objection!
Oh, okay, the music did cut out. That's a very good sign. What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Council? Oh, it's my cat flapomat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. It can cut through any door you can think of. And... We had such a grim music and now it's Iris's theme is playing. Alright. Interrupted that sentence. Let's try this little bit of dialogue. The music change caught me off guard. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a little... and can make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. Ah! That cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there's no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I failed to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon. A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windybank had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Shlomes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes, how could you? What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean. Alright, it is time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door. Until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No! Eat it, fancy pants! Consequences! At your face! This is a farce. You're really suggesting that the people in the door was... I mean, it had a bone-shaped hinge with a little iris insignia flower. It's kind of obvious in hindsight, and I'm still to this day a little annoyed that I didn't catch that. I did catch the little bone-shaped hinge. I'm like, that's an odd shape. But they had fancy and more weird-shaped hinges back in the day. And then just motored on, and I'm like, nope, that was a thing. I should have caught on that better. So very much, no, trust my instincts. Trust my gut. If I feel there's something amiss, trust it. Stop being a dingus self. That goes from things out of video games. So is this? Can't tell if this is overture or... Nope, this is overture. This is definitely overture. Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device. Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions. This is the most serious act of vandalism, for which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back said black. However, if at the time of the incident, that the people did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way you could have seen what you claim to have seen. Eat it. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Look at Mr. Reaper. He's just having a god. He's just, what is this man? Ah. Order. Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever. My learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yes! I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. It's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. I had a feeling you would say that. What? Waggy! Cooey! Time for dinner! She made a cat door. In the courtroom door! Iris, isn't that vandalism? Also, well, young lady, this is Old Bailey. One does not make a cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey. I'm not done yet. Don't worry. It doesn't mean that the people in the storeroom door at Windy Banks's was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. No? But it's easy. What? The cat flaps my cat flip-o-mat. Why is that hard for me to say? The cat flaps my cat flap-o-mat. Crates are all of a fixed size. And the dimensions of the people at Windy Banks's are an exact match. Old Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. Now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. You may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let's assume the people has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. What is the purpose of this line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the incident using this device. And now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the people was made, the learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. What? Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel? Don't give up now, Bruno. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this. I do know one thing. Usato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. He's determined on that. I'm not going to argue with him. Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the people in the door of Windybanks' storeroom was created after the events and not before. Okay, I'm pretty sure we're gonna need the one with Gina and Windybanks. Just in case I'm wrong in that deduction. Because again, it's always easier to reload and go through the failed dialogue. Yes, this one. As you can see the door.
Take that!
Music cut out. I was right. Okay, good. What are you? Print from that detective's infernal cameras again. My judicial assistant, Miss Usato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman. Which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. The necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. It also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point. It pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This is really quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a people of any description. Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no people in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalogue of lies. Nope. Ooh. Okay. Order! I am satisfied the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious, right? Fallacious. Okay. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. Consequences. That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. Your and friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with a crime scene. More importantly... Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zeeks. Defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. That is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact. If you look at the circumstances, I'm the victim here. Oh, please, no! Don't believe this. They're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Evie, you be drinking. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris, you know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Bruno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Sir Graydon, only did you give false testimony to the court. The lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? You said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
It's provocation. It's provocative. This is provocative talk, counsel. Will you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. Inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witness's statements. Show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Third gun, the people, bloodstains on the coat. I think it's the bloodstains on the coat. Because E could conceivably go back and see the people, third gun, and people were mentioning the, it got mentioned that before, the third gun's been mentioned by other people, but the bloodstains, that was new. That was only him. He brought that up. So I'm pretty sure it's this. Bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right. The victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. How could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it to the people in the... yeah. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. And let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the people in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously, I got your tongue. Ugh. As the cat got your tongue, witness. Judge knows what's up. The people in the door was made after the incident occurred. Once I returned to the shop, having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windybanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of pawned articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have the officers working around the clock in shifts so that we get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable. Yeah, kind of loud. Inexplicable. Tripping up on my words. Yeah. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain he witnessed the crime take place through the people in the door. How on earth is that possible? Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. Just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you... Permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Zeeks is making me yawn again. Really, doing his voice makes me want to yawn. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of that people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, the offense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be. Who is this person in question, Counsel? I know this. Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? This man! Remember, well, if this is your first time watching, they were whispering together a while back. Maybe last stream? Was that last stream or was that a stream before this one? A stream or two ago. Tobias Gregson. The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Me?
Objection!
You better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact. We've only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess. The police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communications station. And through that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Greydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have to defend himself against the accusation he was the third intruder. Suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin. Exactly. The only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a blooming outrage. Why would I be giving away details of their investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, I've been in full view in the stand where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Ew, I've just remembered something, Bruno. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying. Oh yes, you mentioned it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve Mathilde's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it! During that testimony. Yeah, they were whispering to each other. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Greydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been impossible for you to give Mr. Greydon the information he needed then. You little toe rag! You're making it all this up! I'm a respected Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? I would be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke. Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind, and it starts to make more sense. What deal, Counsel? I wonder if perhaps, in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Greydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Well,
Objection!
I mean, clear. Jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. With the stakes so high, prosecution's not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? What are you proposing that the inspector demand of the witness in return? Demanded of the witness in turn. Court must see proof of this alleged deal. Big thing. Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Greydon. And logically, only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. You know, do you think it could be... Yes. The missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Consul. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal with the inspector... What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? save, because there's 2 items I should show. I think I need to show the disc. Wait, oh, here we go. I think it's this, but it could also be the music disc, because it needs 2 discs. I'm gonna see if this works first. Yeah, okay, that does work. Okay, good. The music cut out. That usually means it works. Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case? What? Are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? Classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. How in the bleeding Nora could you? We discovered during the course of this trial, the music box deposited at Windy Banks's by Magnus McGilded. A special music box, designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. Pursuit theme! Yeah! You know it's an actual pickup turnabout to the case when this is playing. You little... Ah! Order, order, order! On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windy Banks's, you said this. Woo-woo! We've taken that whatever it is and McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't! Don't give it to him. That's mine, that is, mine! Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken into as evidence now. The real toe tapper. Scotland Yard already knew at that time, isn't that right? Magnus McGilded was involved in the stealing of government secrets. Our orders were cover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry. To do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. That explains why. When I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. I mean, not likely. I mean, I wasn't sure of it myself. I realized that there was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, it did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness. Aid and abet this man in giving false testimony. No other way that Mr. Graydon would have known of the existence of the people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these 2 men. Oh my gosh. Consequences. If, I stress if, sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this courtroom? Could you possibly make a claim like that? Inspector Gregson, the Scotland Yard detective. What? That's supposed to mean it. A seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly, You would have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No. You would have assisted in having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious! And you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person.
Yes!
Oop. The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before. And Gregsley hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? It's awfully calm now, all of a sudden. This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulting me and my professional quite enough. Or me and my profession quite enough, sorry. However, if you'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'm happy to submit to a body search. But he's going to agree to it. I presume you're aware of the... Oh gosh. For crying out loud. Words! Blockade of words! How do I pronounce it? Precipice? The... Precept... For crying out loud. There's words that I know, but I don't often see them written down, and then it trips me up when I see them written down. Okay, yeah, it is precipice. Okay, we'll read the whole dialogue. Alright, let's start that over again now that I'm not tripping up on the words. Really, sometimes I just have trouble because I really am not used to seeing a word written down, though I hear it out loud all the time. I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. Made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, the disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. The trial will end. My country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. It sounds serious. Indeed. I have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force. It's not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook. You're just threatening Runo because you're scared. Raiden has this, not great. At maybe. Accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. Can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. This must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. Somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Not the first time things didn't feel quite right around Gregson. Everyone's rooting in the comment section. Comment set in the chat. I see you in the chat. Very well, Counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects? Search someone else. That's what I'm choosing. Yes, the defense openly demands the search be conducted. Well! Don't say you weren't warned. Your typical Nipponese stubbornness will land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. Got nothing to hide. Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal things. The offense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. Oh no, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it, have you, Sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Be quiet, all of you. Who was that? Yeah, that was Iris. Reno's doing what you all told him to do, and having the courage of... Reno's doing what you all told him to do, and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way. She's going to unload the paint on your face if you criticize him much more. She is armed and loaded with mischief making. Getting told off by a 10-year-old. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction, and eagerly awaits his next words. What? Don't be hasty, my lord. I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today. I'm fairly sure I know who has the disc at the moment. Only one person it can be. Counsel, of whom do you request the search now? Nash! He got manhandled a few seconds ago.
Take that!
Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin. Well, I never. Eh? Blimey? Me? Him? You're so confused. Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects. Please, my lord. Inspector. Scotland Yard, has to object to the search.
Objection!
Fortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecutor and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Zeeks! I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Ugh. Bailiff, carry out the search. Nash is like, what is going on? Hold on, Mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Poor Nash. I feel a little bad for him. Ah, here, my lord. In the witness's pocket. I found this. It's a disc. Good lord, that's... Another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing. Everyone is in the stand is like, what is going on? Oh no. Actually, half the stand has no clue what's going on. The other half of the stand knows absolutely is what is going on and is like, I don't like this. That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? It's playing the Reaper of the Bailey. Order, order, order! Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself? Cord Bennett, I mean just Gore Flippin' Flamin' Bennett! I swear I don't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God! Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no? Without question, my lord. Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Bergson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. At one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? Curses, they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those middling kids. I know, right? Ah. It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit to nothing of the sort. Shame. Poor Nash. Mr. Graydon was answering... While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash's spoken by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, he did all that, and all thought my noggin was going to fall clean off, I did. I was wishing a bit boring as me brother I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me, and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down the station? That's what he said. Held it right down me ear hole, he did. He had still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Bless my wig! He hid it. You... I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. The detective had acquired the disc he was after. Why on earth would he proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. I ever not. The man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. Hush-hush. Top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Let's sum up the situation, Inspector. I'm operating under direct orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Ah, does that mean? You only pretended to attack Mr. Sculpin in order to get close enough to him, to slip the second disc into his pocket. So it was all a pretense. Apparently, he's clutching those fish and chips pretty tightly. Graydon. Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Oh, Graydon's being... Yep. Admit to it. Yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon. Clearly our eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then... How do you explain the reason why you knew about the people? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with the detective. All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... What? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? You admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc. Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I'm acting in the best interests of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as a member of the public of this fine country, I like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. One of them is a foreigner, though. This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nonetheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well, now, as a fellow servant of the Queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idols. Stop. She's so excited. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it. 6 jurors are going to believe Gregson. They declare their decision now. Is Ginny going to be found guilty? I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence. Right now, then we're going to lose. Some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windybank or stole those government secrets. Some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Well then, counsel, I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings. Gina would be found guilty. So there's no choice then, Reno. You have to throw some more evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? Think. Save. Here, we're gonna be making choices. It's gonna be Gregson, I believe. For what I have in mind. Inspector Gregson. There's one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. Eh? What's that then? You refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today. You leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Graydon. Okay, I don't actually have the disc. I think... Okay. I'm not sure if it's going to be the music box or I have to present the other disc to say that to grab both discs, but I think it's the music box.
Take that!
Okay, music cut out. This was applicable. Is that Mr. McGilded's Peculiar Music Box, Council? Yes. With a disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. I'm enjoying the song. It's so upbeat for this game's soundtrack, and I'm like, I'm ready to go! Feels like we're gonna tango off to the truth, and it's so much fun. I love this song. Goodness, this disc, Council.
Hold it!
No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? But because because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector. Eh? The defense has already proposed. The sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of 2 distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now, we have a chance to confirm that theory. Right out loud, Sunshine. We're talking about state secrets here. Go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that. It's treason. And do you omit the charge? In order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness. You're mad. You let that secret information out to the public domain. You'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiots!
Objection!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, Scotland Yard officer, leak confidential case details to a witness. You continue to lie to the court, and all because by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare! I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. I love that line so much! Also, Fancy's like, dang! Woo! I didn't flub that line! Let me have my victory! I've been so worried about flubbing that line! Oh, the relief is palatable. I didn't screw that up. Okay. Woo! My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Van Zeeks, for Pete's sake, stop it!
Objection!
I think Van Zeeks is fed up with you, Inspector. He just acts to kick his death. Podium? I think it's more of a podium. Anyway. Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ah. In this courtroom, your duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast. Don't make me laugh! Ooh-ling! Yeah, ooh-ling indeed! Gosh dang it! Chat in here and me raising my hand up to the sky. Gosh dang you, Macy's! It's making me laugh mid-sentence! Gosh dang it! What I'm trying to voice act! Okay. Composure, composure. Okay, let me do his last line. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. Let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. No! Very well. The defense stands here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore... You went up on my lap. Yeah, okay. Do you want to see justice be had there, kitty? Come here. Come here. I can't jump onto my lap. Yeah? Okay. Are you gonna stay? I don't know what you're gonna do. We're in the middle of a big reveal, kitty. She's Runa-san. We have cat... Girl. All the bad time things. Anyway. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's requests, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time, with the second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously. Greggson's losing his gosh dang mind. Yeah, that sounds like Morse code. It's so pretty, actually. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code. All right, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that blooming box up! Yeah. Purse for justice, huh, sweetie? I have a cat on my lap. Good job. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? I will play the box again if you don't. I did. Stop. What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Thank you for the emotes. Shut up, you imbecile. Shut up. Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbrokery the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector. With me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Or information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal, and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door, the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. I did. Then it turned out the peephole had only been made that night, after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? Not a whole lot. There's nothing, and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windybank. You... Oh. Traitor! Oh my gosh. Somebody save the inspector! Oh, poor Tobias. Great inspector. No kidding! Bailiff! Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! Oh my gosh, Tobias! I mean, that was sketchy, but I understand why he did it. He's not doing it because he's a jerk. He's doing it because it's his job. Graydon, on the other hand. That's it then. It's all over. Lots of dots. More dots. Also, Kitty has left. Oh wait, no, that was Graydon. Okay. I despised my life growing up. The slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your dedication. But then you decided to try to sell government secrets. Kitty. Kitty literally showed up just to watch a guy get the consequences of his own actions shoved into his face. 2 men, actually. And then decided, yep, we're good, and bailed. Kitty has good taste. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. That's rough, buddy. I wanted to drown them out. More money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. And one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilden. You're a fiend with a queer talent, so you are. I have the money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings. How easily it is to succumb. You must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. Using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Millerton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagine his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier. So dreary. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh? He was a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. Poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box disc, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I've brought the score with me. There are 2, actually. I'll be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had him make the 2 discs. Thereby splitting the information in 2. We're taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the 2 discs, and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would play 1,000 guineas. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal? The exchange of the second disc? Yes. I sold the man information that way a number of times already. But it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. That doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself? When I received the 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. And my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. Oop, dots. Quiet. It was only then that I found out what sort of monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. To extract revenge. Revenge? Anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine. McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. Crush the semblance of justice in his trial. Crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and the witnesses were bribed. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from the start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then. I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. No, I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. Well, I'll give Mr. Fancy Pants one credit. I'm not sorry about this incident. I have no sympathies for a man such as he. An awful name to all like him. I have no sympathies for McGilden. What an awful man. A tragic accident. Following a trial here 2 months ago. Was planned and executed by yours truly. Its death that day was caused by this man. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? It is sooner than I was led to believe. Hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There's some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. A policeman who came to tell McGilden he could examine the omnibus again. That's right. An imposter. Hired by me. McGilden used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilden inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. That wasn't very good of you, but also McGilden is no more, and I'm not a great choice of how to do that, but I understand. I also feel no sympathy for McGilden, because my goodness, that man was not a good man. No tears spilled. There's a lot of other people who are much more distressed, mainly like Gina. You absolute jack-a-monkey. But an innocent girl in face of a murder charge. An eye for an eye. Well, as innocent as far as murder goes. Obviously, she's pickpocketed and not completely guilt-free and did perjury, but as far as something as severe as murder, absolutely not. Gina is fine. That is how I avenged my father's death. The judge is out of the waves, dumbstruck. A spine-chilling account indeed. That wasn't the end of it for me. There's a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. A second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilden. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilden. This was the first of 2 discs. In the music box, you will need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for ya, young man. What's this? Windy Banks' pawnbrokery. Aye, it's a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the Fern the watchword. Put a jewel in pawn for ye. I'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. Never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. Did Shlum somehow hear this? Was Shlum's overhearing this somehow? Shlum said that before. So I knew that if he had taken steps to hide the disc, it'd be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Windy Banks' that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. Pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately she was another of McGilded's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Windybanks's to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat, and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box, with the second disc inside, was missing. It had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector, you would have recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examined whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere, so I knew it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. Well, that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles. The second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Ooh. Shots fired. Quite literally. Gunshot ran out in the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Ooh. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. A sorry, sorry tale. It all took place in a blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windybanks on that wretched night. What a sorry, pathetic, despicable man you are there. This is tragedy after tragedy. Misfortune begets misfortune. And all that. How somber. Earlier, you called McGilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. for what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Yes, I think I have. Whew, boy, how that trial ends always makes me a little sad. I'm like, he's just a pissed off child that his parent got murdered and then just shite happened and he didn't own up to it. There's definitely tragedy in there, like all this could have been avoided. Especially if he was a better man. Jeez. But I'm just like, a little bit of oof. Mostly, but it's also partly I'm like at you. I'm not fully sympathetic because you did kind of start this, you idiot. But at the same time, there's still that bit of oof. Also, what are people saying? I like how the game devs included the seam detail on Graydon's jacket. Oh yeah, the clothes details are pretty on point. They're pretty good. Graydon's such a loser. I know! He screwed over Gina too, just like McGilded did as well! Freaky. He really did turn into the same kind of monster McGilded did. I think that's why I like his last line. It just Van Zeeks points it out, and then he just goes, yes, I think I have. Just like he's just dawning realization of the monster we did get Leggy. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get me with that every time. We got lots of Leggy from Van Zeeks. We're gonna have to get used to seeing that. Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. Don't even get me started. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Grada? He's been restrained, my lord, and he's being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windybank and stealing of government secrets. Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. Tobias taking this with grace. Good on you, sir. Transpires that you were complacent in helping a criminal escape justice. Fact remains, whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. That fact remains. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Poor Gregson. Stuck in a rock in a rock in a hard place. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Yeah? It's time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Guard of squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yay! Is he actually? Yep. I like how the doctor uses his head to do that. That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Bruno, you finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. It's Lestrade. I'm not finished with you yet. What? What are you looking at me like that for? Or you start enjoying your freedom. There are certain other crimes to consider, 2 months ago, in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windybanks' pawnbrokery, You also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilded's property, it seems. Eh? I never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilded's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Aw, just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening. And turning our attention to the events. Determining that, when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was... Well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel. Quite so, my lord. Your execution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Ah. Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit to what he's done, so... If I may say something on that point, isn't that... It's, about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What are you saying, madame? Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madame. An unhealthy level of obsession one feels. But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all. You might have had to play them at a certain time together, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. I mean, if you just place the disc haphazardly, what do you think is going to happen? Also, Lady could be covering for Ryunosuke. I don't know. Iris is thinking. My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you those discs contain ministry secrets, Sunshine? Courtroom. It's not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of the government's communications. We know McGilded conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies. Secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But it's really going to bother me. It's okay, Ryunosuke. We'll figure it out eventually. Iris is thinking. Straw. I mean, if Iris is thinking, she probably knows something's up, but she's gonna keep being bums the word because she's a smart little girly. The fact that the 10-year-old has told off men. I don't know how old the judge is, but his hair's all white. Thank you for the But Mr. Judge's hair's all white, so he's lived quite a few decades. And as for Van Zeeks, who she's also told off, I should say, is 32. So the 10-year-old has told off two men who are a few decades older than her, and be justifiably so about it. In this house, we appreciate Iris. She's a good little one. Oop, did I hit? Yes, I did. Sorry. I just smacked the cord. Oop, no, here. 1 second, it's gonna go wonky. There we go. Okay, the little thing's moving, we're good. Let's put my foot away from the cord so that doesn't happen again. Yeah, my lord? What you have seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity. An appalling experience to befall any child. Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums. Beg your pardon. If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. But look, I reckon I have worked something out today. The world ain't fair. If you want it to change, you gotta start at home. You gotta change how you are yourself. Well, it's a very honorable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade, never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. She's quiet about that. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant Miss Gina Lestrade not guilty. Just, oh, come on. Fireworks! Oh. Ah, look at Gina. Where did you get that, Gina? I don't know how the laws are actually in this time of day or anything. I don't know how that works, but okay. That is all. Court is adjourned. Woo! Now we just have epilogue stuff. This is the epilogue for the entire game, because this is the end of Adventures. I'll need to remind you. Okay, everyone's... Hi, Vanzi. Is this just Ryunosuke? I don't know if I saw Iris next time. I wasn't paying enough attention. On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my far eastern friend. Ah, oh... Despite being a Nipponese, saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman. At the same time, saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't know how to respond to that. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain, or the Empire of Japan, we're human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You learned that the hard way. I remember some of your lines, Ryunosuke. Are you gonna learn Vanzeeks? No. This case for one very simple reason. Lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did. When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Though through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew, and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal, the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. That's really ominous, Vanzeeks! Alright, then I'll wait for that day, if I must. Gonna have a drink, huh? I'm to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. Was that necessary? So farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, till we meet again. No, Iris was not present. Okay, Vanzeeks is done being ominous Count of Ominous. I almost want to call him Count Chocula for silly reasons. Oh geez, that trial did go on a while. Didn't it start at 9 or 10 in the morning, and now it's 5:24? Good golly, that was a while. It was even longer in real life. Jeez. Jeezums. It's done. Over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Probably to check on Shlomes. Ah, congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew you were innocent. She's going to be a Sundari about this, isn't she? Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naro Odo. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. You thought about it. Told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one's ever as before, see? Keep your promise, I mean. Properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I never trusted no one. Well, that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Oh, can I give Gina a hug, please? Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone, and paid for it. The betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked out something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. It'll make a lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say, putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. She's like, enough with the sap. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. You. Ooh, Kazuma! This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. That comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, I am living up to your expectations? Oh wait, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be a lawyer you believed I could be? Look at that smiling face. I think Kazuma's proud of you. Buttering the interruption. Oh my gosh, Gina. It's like, oh my gosh. Shlomes! Another bailiff is looking towards him now. This man is my favorite character. At least one of the top. It's I freaking love Shlomes and Ryunosuke. I want to hug them both. Can I hug both the mans? They're such goofballs. I need to check to see if it really was him the whole time. Was I not paying enough attention? Oh boy. But what in the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Ah, that voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Ah ha ha ha! Yes, it was me all along, I would have said, when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant blabbering... Mr. Shlomes! Ah ha ha! Yes, it was me all along, you see. For Pete's sake, Shlomes. I'd assume you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Clones! Somebody get this guy a child's leash. For him! Put a leash on this man's back. Like a kid. Just holster, leash. Somebody keep him in. This man. Need to tether this man to like a pet post to keep him in his hospital bed. Shlomes! What made you think coming back was a good idea? You could have waited. Okay, I'm done complaining. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justify a reward, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. Some great detective you are. Getting great at being cold as ice, maybe. I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade. While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but well, I have a feel. Would you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Shlomes? Somebody give this man a hug. Oh my god. Where's Iris? Iris, she has tea usually on her, right? Could she heat up some tea for poor Shlomes there? Her poor Hurley is needing of a warm-up, apparently. I'm so worried for Mr. Shlomes at this moment. The utter goofball. No regard for his personal health. And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but... An acquittal in a trial with that peculiar prosecutor is perhaps a little precocious. Or cautious. Whatever. Well done, Mr. Shlomes. Alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working on winds up dead anyway. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fact of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some coves like that bog trotter what are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Fine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like that McGilded's the world, so I ain't scared. Got principles, see? What are you thinking about there, Shlomes? A trait in you which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade. Oi! Just give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was a very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, Goodbye, good sir. There you are! Hurley! How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ha, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I'll tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a pretense for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. Put it to where it hurts, Iris. Why don't you? The poor man just slipped to her. Oh, goodness. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you? Doesn't look like I'm going to be going nowhere for a while. You're the Judge Patter. Or Judge's Patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All of them offenses. What was it again? Breaking and entering? Taking the Bogtrotter's stuff? What was in lug? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But driving ain't an offense. It's a job, isn't it? I don't think so. Still, it has got me thinking, all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did ya, Odo? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something for all of them lot like me for the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Oh, she's teary-eyed again. Nothing. It's Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Well? Odo? Yes? Oh my gosh. This again. Why? Oh! Ah! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so shoot him with green. Smoke bomb? Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh yes! It's a good advice. It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well, Gina? Is she gonna say something? Oh. Thanks, Odo. Oh. Thank you for everything, what you done. For believing in me. Aw, you're gonna make me all teary-eyed. Oh, look how happy she is. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Oh, right in the heart. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well. With the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition. And this trial is all over the front page. Pickpocket's innocent. Oh wait, pickpocket's innocent proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. You would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. Ah, but anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Not again. Well, what do you say, Bruno? Curly? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not! No intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Shalom's confirmed not to like bad news. Shalom's confirmed not to like bad things happening. Let's not go there. Alright then. Maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then. What's the bad news? A huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel, in particular, is awful. So sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Shlomes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. We hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport director's foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary! Shlomes, I question you. You're still one of my favorites, though. Just an idea. But it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria. Oop, that's a big ship. That's actually pretty good looking water, not gonna lie. 18th April, 5:32 a.m. Port of Dover, quayside. That took somewhat longer than I anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Susato, where are you? Susato! Look over there, look! It looks like she's reading something. She closed it.
Hold it!
Miss Susato, wait! What are you doing? Now she looks like she's gonna throw that out your head. Mr. Naruhodo! What are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard the sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. Yeah, she's relieved. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. Aww, we get to see her smiley face, a really big, genuinely smiley face. Book you are about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? It was also green, so she does have multiple books. It's only a singular animation. How many books does she have in her sleeves? I want to know how many books Susato has at any given moment. Also, she does carry a lot of books with her. She has, at all times, rather hefty projectiles at any given moment to chuck at people. Oh jeez, if I was wearing sleeves that long to use as pockets, I would for sure be pretty much the same. Like, means to defend oneself and others at arm's reach all the time. Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. He did say hold it, just as you were gonna pitch it, you know? Not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law. You, Susato-san. Would I be correct in assuming? It's because of the people, Miss Susato. Probably. I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Bruno's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Just because I do have it still. The name on there is Kazuma Asogi, so this is Asogi's armband. That's why it's important for anyone who needs to be told that. So Ryunosuke likes to keep the memento of his dead friend. He's like, please don't take it away from me. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flappo-mat. So I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself in Mr. Windybanks' shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Oop. Yep. Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. The door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. At that moment, the little device I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I don't think it's little. It makes a sizable little flap. It's gotta be pretty sizable itself. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So, you use the cat flappo-mat to make the peephole in the door. As captured in a photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was one of the first important... Indeed, it was of the first importance, that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. When I looked through the peephole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier. The trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then, a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windybank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. We were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have been a way to see beyond the door. Ah. For which, a people would be the very thing. Only the people I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the people to anyone. Not even to the police. I know. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sloane's. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner, with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. That was my plan. He really does think of everything. But then... why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disembarred if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Miss Susato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Miss Lestrade's. Susato being MVP once again. Miss Susato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Raiden is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that people as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, the people inconsistency hadn't existed. I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too, from my regrets. Aww. The face. The little happy face. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Though some of those loose ends in the trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, the argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see. A telegram operator. She said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all. We are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then, we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Did you figure it out, Shlomes? A. Soki? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said, Sugi. Does that word mean something to you? Means something? Sugi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. You transcribed it on the fly. She really is a genius. I knew she was up to something. She had her little thinky face on. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying? That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the I-Ro-Ha pangram, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says Osogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Miss Susato, do you know of it? Do you know of Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code would become ever more important for international communications. Then might I recommend, my dear madame, that you focus your efforts on the English version. Be that as it may. Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. So it's written in Japanese Morse code. Interesting. She's looking it over. What can this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes. It's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications. I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is Kei Asogi. Asuma Asogi. Why? Why is his name on that disc? The second is A. Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Huregusen. Gregson? Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. What is his name doing in a secret government communications as well? The last name... What's the matter, Miss Susato? It's just so strange. So unexpected. Oh! What is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. What was that? Okay. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? Shlomes is quiet. It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message, or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. Oh, poor Iris! I just can't believe it. Who would have ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message, or peculiar message, is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So, Daddy could be in Japan then? Where Susie and Runo come from? Oh, well... no, it's not very likely really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be a lot of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. We can't tell Iris about that... No. Well, we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. He died. In the first trial, the tutorial trial. He was a murder victim. It's so strange. Somehow in solving the case of Mr. Windybanks' murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. Yeah. All the cases are connected, except for Natsume's, and so far. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Ooh, boat. Boat sounds. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change into a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really gonna go then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always by my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. Oh, no, she's crying. Tears in the eyes. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Ah! Oh yes, Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Look at the girls getting along. Sir Naruhodo. Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. In the SS burial, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange. Being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. Susato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that. I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Bye, Susato! Oh, animation. Ooh, okay, I'm like, did it freeze again?
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least.
Bye.
Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
That person is a kiddo. The cat's here.
Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective.
Aww.
I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Oh, Shlomes is just playing on his violin.
After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Aw, sappy. Okay. Oh gosh. Hi. Ah, yes. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Shlomes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? It caused such a commotion on the line, although their trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. Huh? 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 It's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? Oh my gosh, Iris. Mr. Shlomes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh yes, I love Bruno's words. And I know just the one he'll use here. Then, I really must say...
Objection!
Yay! Roll credits! Which I'm not gonna show entirely. Because it's been over 3 hours since I started. But yeah. Chutakumi! You're gonna have to look these up on your own. Hello! Yay! We got through adventures! As you saw, the credits started to roll. Again, I'm not showing that because that's going to be a few minutes. I'm like, I don't have the time. I need to wrap this up. So, if you did enjoy this, you know, do all the normal YouTube kind of things like comment, subscribe. You don't have to, only if you want to. I'm not gonna force anyone or be a nag about it. Just take it as a reminder or consideration. All I ask is you consider it. But I hope you did enjoy it at least to give a like, because that was a lot of fun. And also I'm going these last 2 streams were very long. But that does mean next time I play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, we'll be on the Resolve side of things. So this is the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. But it's Chronicles, so it's all one thing. So I'm still gonna call this episode 6, even though it's gonna be episode 1 in Resolve. That's not confusing in the least. But yeah, for my purposes, we're nearly on episode 6. But that also said, as anyone watching this live, or, you know, how to put it, as a recent VOD, so if you're watching this, I don't know, months later, this is not going to be too applicable. But for anyone who's watching this in the relative timeline, or time frame, I have actually streamed this. I'm going to take a break, because I'm going to play another code to finish that off, because it has a second game part of it too, much like Chronicles. And I want to play through that second game, and then I'll come back here to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles to finish it off. But I figured, a little bit of a break, a little bit of a difference. So yeah, that's why you may have guessed that yourselves, seeing my schedule, that Friday was another code, which normally would have been the Great Ace Attorney, and I'm not technically done with Chronicles yet, so there's no reason for me not to play, but I did end up having a reason. I'm gonna finish off another code, and then we'll get back to Ace Attorney. That is the plan. And hopefully none of you mind too much, but we will get back to it. Another code is not too long of a game, I don't think. I've not played this one, so this will be brand new to me. Unlike here, which is my second playthrough. But I do not want to sit on playing the rest of Chronicles, because honestly, there's every single case, there's something to love. There's something going on that is just like things go haywire, because this was designed to be 2 games at the very least. Some people said it was designed to be 3. There's some there's discussions about what exactly is the game, but they did know they would at least get a second game. So it is 2-part. This was the opening part. Now we get to the second part, and it's more zany because it's amping it up. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot to see, so I hope you stick around to see it. But with all that said, Thank you all so much for coming, whether it's live or as a VOD, I very much appreciate it, and whether it is a subscriber or just somebody who happened to come by, I very much appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to the silly little lady. That is myself. So for now, I will bid you all farewell with a fun bye-bye, as usual, while hoping to see you another time. Good day.